we can get started. I think the biggest thing, and I saw a lot of you guys out there. For us, it was first of all unbelievable weather, which makes everybody super happy, and to get the guys back out there. I thought you could see with the amount of reps that we had, some of the guys being able to understand where their bodies are at as we got more bodies here. Rep wise, it was good, and they start getting into football condition. So we'll have another day and a half here, and then get off into the summer. But I thought the guys did a really good job, and there was a lot of alacrity to get back into the building today. And I think when you have that, that's always good.
Brad?
Hey, Matt, I've got two unrelated questions. First, I wanted to ask about Eddie Goldman. He's a guy we did not see out there today. I'm wondering if you could shed some light on that.
Yeah, no, you were right. You know, he wasn't out here. And again, for us, we're out here practicing, and as everybody knows, it's a mandatory mini camp, and he's not here. But we did have a discussion with him yesterday, and obviously I'm going to keep that between us, but we do expect him to be at training camp, rocking and rolling there at training camp.
Is that an excused absence?
No. This is a mandatory mini camp for us. So I think that just excited about all the guys that are here.
Okay. Unrelated to that, saw Jalen Johnson working on the left side, the right side, which is where you guys had him last year. Is that where you guys think you want to keep him, or is that something you'll kind of mess around with? You got a lot of time.
Yeah, we'll probably mess around with it a little bit. I know Sean, getting these guys back out here, has some ideas of what he wants to do schematically. And as you all know, we won't get into that right now. But I do think it's a benefit to be able to have guys that can play both sides. And so for us to be able to have that versatility with these players, and Jalen being able to do that and do different things, I think Sean will do what's best for really the entire defense.
Jeff Dickerson.
Hey, Matt, just two quick questions on two players, please. First, just Robert Quinn, kind of where is he at with everything? I know he was present today, but not participating. Kind of what's your plan for him here as we head to the training camp portion of the summer?
Jeff. So Robert just has a little lower back that we're just trying not to mess with too much. So with where he's at, we want to make sure that we, in these camps, there's so much, making sure there's probably more conservativeness with us, with a lot of players in these camps, making sure we're in a good place, especially when you don't see a lot of these guys and it's the first time you're seeing them for a while. So he does have a little lower back, but we're probably more conservative on that than anything.
And then having Allen Robinson back, first time back with the team this offseason, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was really good. You guys know that I have a really good relationship with A-Rob, and anytime you have that quality of player that shows back up and gets out here in the huddle, and just that experience and that he brings, and he just has such a quiet, calm, and confidence to him that you could see the guys out there throwing him the football and the things he's doing. I mean, he just slides right on in. And the one sneaky thing about A-Rob that I think is pretty cool is that number one, even if he's not here, he's working his tail off. But number two, man, he's always in great shape. And we noticed that today.
Jason Leisure.
Matt, when you have examined the offensive struggles and what you want to do to fix those, we've seen the personnel change a lot, but what will change about you? How do you think you will be a different coach this season?
Yeah, Jason, I'll make sure that schematically I'm putting our guys in the right position, working off of their strengths and what they do well. I think every year is a little bit different, but you want to create an identity as fast as you can. With the players that we have, you're right. We do have a little different personnel this year in certain areas. So we want to make sure that we're putting those guys in the right position to succeed. And then when you have guys that play fast, which is what we're trying to get at right now, then it's a matter of making sure you try to do your best to call the best plays at the right time. And then there's a lot of times too, Jason, where there'll be an average play call that the players make look good. And I think that's just for us right now, really just trying to digest what this offense is all about. We do have a lot of new players, so we just want to make sure that these guys digest it as best as they can.
Mark Potash.
Hey, Matt, first of all, is Eddie Goldman's status for training camp in doubt at this point, or are you certain that he will be once he gets over whatever he's dealing with now?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's in doubt, Mark. I really feel confident that he's going to be here. And so that's, obviously when somebody's not in minicamp, that's probably what a lot of people will think and start wondering, what the deal is. And that's natural and okay and normal, but we fully expect him to be there. And again, I'm just super pumped about all the guys that are here right now and just where they're at.
And real quick on Justin Fields was, anything he does is going to get hyped. But was there anything you saw from your vantage point, even in like the first minicamp practice, that either excited you or was notable, or just in general, what did you see from him today?
No, there was nothing in particular today for Justin, I thought. And again, I haven't watched the tape yet. We just came right in from practice. So once I'm able to watch that tape and see some of the growth, what I try to do in practice is listen to the play calls. Is he getting the play calls rhythmically into the players? And that's kind of what we're working on right now. If we were to pull any one of you guys off of this and get you in the huddle and tell you to call a play, you're going to call the play and you're probably just going to read the words as fast as you can, but not really speak to the players. And that's what we're working on right now, is rhythmically speaking the play to the players and slowing him down a little bit in the huddle. And so, again, you won't see that on tape, but I'm able to hear it and see it. And so we're just kind of focusing on that part right now with him.
Adam Johns.
Hey, Matt, two questions for you. To go back to Eddie real quick. When you have that discussion with him and he relays his concerns, is this absence kind of related to him opting out in the pandemic?
I don't know. I can't say, Adam, that I know that. We had a discussion as far as just from me talking to Ryan and just kind of knowing everything that's going on and talking to his coaches, and didn't get into a whole lot of details, and that's okay. I mean, the way I look at it honestly is this is where we're at right now. The guys that show up are the guys that are here, and then it's like the same thing when we get into training camp. That'll speak volumes as to where guys are at as well. So do we wish he was here? Absolutely, because we think he's a hell of a player, and he has been out a whole year, so I can't specifically tell you that I know that for sure.
Okay, and then on the field today, I think we saw Andy hit Marquis Goodwin deep a couple times today. I mean, we couldn't see too well from where we were, but that seemed to happen. I'm just curious about Goodwin's place in the offense and the speed he could bring, maybe in terms of stretching the field and what you're seeing already so far this summer.
So, number one, are you saying that we should be on field 3 tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we can do that. Apologize for that. And number 2, you did see it right. So I thought it was definitely an element that we have when you see some of the guys out there rolling with the speed. That's that touchdown to touchdown mentality, that we talked about. So it's nice to see that. It is a little bit, there's a little bit of a disadvantage to the defense because with no pads on out there, it's funny, like Demo came out to me at the end of the practice and was like, he's done this like the last couple of years. He like doesn't have fun in these camps because there's not a lot of running because it's just hard with the rules that we have. So it's a lot of it's passing camp, but we're trying to be able to take the top off when we can. And you guys were able to see a good view of it from where you were. We'll get that switch for you, Adam.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Dane Weeder.
Matt, I'm going to request field 3 and a spot in the viewing suite upstairs, if that's possible tomorrow.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk to Faber and make that happen.
Catered too. That'd be great. We had a chance to talk to Jimmy Graham earlier today, and he said he was kind of going through his thought process at the end of last season, figuring out how much he had left and what he wanted to do. I'm curious, from your vantage point, what tells you that he's got a lot to give to this offense in 2021? Then I got a quick follow-up after that.
Okay. No, well, Jimmy, so a couple of things. Number one, going into last year, I didn't know him as well. I mean, obviously Ryan knew him really well, the person. I saw what I saw on tape at prior stops where he was. And then when he came in here and showed us who he really was, and where he was physically, I mean, this guy takes care of his body and he's extremely passionate about being the best. And so we got to training camp, we got to the season, and it was a nice little mentorship for Cole. Again, we keep talking about Justin and Andy and these different scenarios, but I think down the road, 10 years from now, Cole Kmet's going to look back and say one of the best things that happened to him was having Jimmy Graham as his mentor. And so not only that, but he produced touchdowns for us last year, and he had a lot of intangibles that a lot of us don't see on game day, but you see it throughout the week. And you know, for him heading into now whatever year it is for him, he's been playing a long time. He understands that, but he's still extremely valuable to us, and in so many ways. So I have a good relationship with him. I talk to him a lot during the off season, and we have a lot of healthy conversations. And it just got to a point where we're super excited to be able to get him back here and continue to know kind of what his role is going to be now in this offense. And so that'll be for us to know. But one of my favorite players I've ever coached. I've learned a lot from him, and I just love his mentality. I think we're lucky to have him.
That bond between him and Cole seems to be very natural, and it seems to be very, very energized. I'm curious how you notice that on a day-to-day basis in terms of their ability to work together and Cole to be a sponge off what Jimmy has to offer.
Yeah, it's neat because Cole has the openness and the willingness and the ability to want to learn. He's a sponge. And so anytime you go up with somebody that does like these triple, quadruple flips in airplanes and these helicopters, and you go up there, that means you really trust somebody. So it's a cool relationship. I'm watching Cole, and we all are watching Cole grow right in front of our eyes. His confidence is getting higher and higher by the day. Watching a lot of tape of tight ends and just ways to watch how to beat a defense. And I think for all of us, it's who we wanted and who we saw when we drafted him 2 years ago or last year as a rookie, and how lucky we all are for that tight end room.
Finley?
Hey, Matt, I have two Jimmy Graham questions for you as well. Number one, when he catches that touchdown at the end of the playoff game and runs up the tunnel in New Orleans, when you saw that, either in person or on film, did you wonder whether that was it for him? And my second question is, when you talked to him about potentially retiring, did you assure him that there was a place for him? What's your role in those conversations when he's going back and forth?
Well, I hope I have a little bit of value in my opinion with where he's at in his career and what he's done. We built a really good relationship. Going back to your first question, when that happened, to be honest with you, I think I saw like the tail end of it, but you're just at that moment, there's so many things going through your head of just, you just lost the game. And so you don't necessarily see it, but then you actually see it on the cut up. And that's when you're like, wow, he literally just caught that. And you talk about a walk-off. He caught, we lost the game, but man, him going out with the airplane, that would be pretty crazy for him flying helicopters and planes and scoring a touchdown at the end of the game last play. So it would have been really cool if we would have won, but we didn't. So I think for him, just the discussions that we talk about, and it's not always about football, is I think, when I talked to Jimmy last year, when we were going through this free agent process, I just think it's important that everybody on this call understands one thing. Jimmy's done a lot of things individually, right? He's scored a lot of touchdowns. He's been playing with a lot of great quarterbacks. He's been in great offenses. He's done a lot of stuff. He's won a lot of games. But I say this, and I mean this, this guy cares about one thing and one thing only, and that's that trophy. He wants to win the Super Bowl. That's the only thing he cares about. So for him to decide to come back here and to continue to play, he's not doing it for records. He's not doing it because he just wants to play a little bit more and get one more year in. He's doing it because he believes that we have the ability to be really good. And he knows that. And he is a valuable piece of this offense in so many different ways, in the classroom, at practice, and on game day, that is just worth every penny. And so I'm excited about it. I'm ready to see him and use him in certain ways. But there's one reason why he's here, and that's to win the Super Bowl.
We got time for two more. We're going to go Colleen Kane and Mark Silverman. Colleen?
Hey, Matt, with your starters together on defense for the first time on the field this offseason, what's the most important thing for them to get out of these 3 days? What can be accomplished in these 3 practices?
Sure. Colleen, I would say, again, with Coach Pagano not being here, and now Sean Desai, who they all know really well, at least the guys that have been here, he's in a completely different role now. And it's different for him. It's different for them. And when everybody's out there, when I was standing out there and we were doing our walkthrough and they broke the huddle for the first time, it's really neat to see the presence. And it was cool in practice. When the offense and defense were getting ready to go against each other, I just kind of talked to those guys before we blow the whistle for the first play. And I just looked over at Khalil, and he didn't, he just said to the guys, man, this feels good to be out here, and I think that we weren't able to do this last year. Defensively, we have a veteran defense of some guys that are ready to do great things, but they know that there can be zero complacency. And that's what we're talking about in these team meetings, is you can't be complacent. So this defense under Sean, we're going to have specific looks. So, it's easy to say 2018 when we broke a lot of, records and had a great defense and had all these numbers. In 2019, 2020, we didn't have quite the numbers, but we had a good defense. But 2021 is going to be about Coach Desai and this defense for this year. And so I think today was day one of that. And, you got a bunch of different personalities and leaders, and I'm excited to see what happens as we get into training camp and into the preseason and the season.
Mark.
Hey, Coach. Thank you for taking my question. Hope the family's well. I've got a follow-up question for you after this as well. Been wanting to know, did anyone in the organization ever promise Andy Dalton that he would be the starting quarterback on opening day of the regular season?
No, Mark, I'd say promises are, as we all know, promises can get pretty crazy. But what we told Andy is that he's our starter, and he knows that. And that's what Justin knows. That's what Nick knows, the rest of our coaches. And we tell these guys knowing that there's got to be a start, right? So that's where we're at. And now they go ahead, and all three of them are going to be the best quarterback they can be. And then that gets into that plan, this plan that we keep talking about. And it takes a little bit of time. But to answer your first question, there was no promises, but we told him, and I specifically told him, you're our starter, so that's that. And now when you're in Andy's role, when you're in Justin's role, when you're in Nick's role, they know their roles. And now it's their job to be able to be the best quarterback they can be. But I'll just be very clear. That being said, does that mean that these guys aren't competing? Absolutely not. They're competing. Like, they want to be the best. And so, and they wouldn't want each other to not be any different. So, or to be any different. So, that's the answer to that.
And based on that, we played your answer from Chris Collinsworth's podcast today, where you said that Andy Dalton is the starter. So we wanted clarification whether or not that means that Justin Fields cannot win the job.
Whether it's clarification that he can't win it, yes, correct. Andy Dalton is our starter. And when we go through this process, like I said today, just calling a play in the huddle, and that gets to the instant gratification part that we all want, right? I understand that. Andy understands that. Justin understands it. Nick understands it. Our coaches understand that we all get excited about Justin Fields. We'd all be lying if we said something different. But that said, we're excited about Andy Dalton too. And we know that if we stick to this plan that we have, that everything's going to be just fine. And that's where like these type of questions, or being able to explain as we go, because let's face it, when you go through OTAs, when you go through training camp, you go through preseason, the only goal that we have is to put the best quarterback out there. And Andy Dalton is our starter. Justin's our number 2, and Nick's our number 3. And we're gonna play that out and make sure that they're all competing, and that's as simple as that.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Take care. See you.